For those of you who know my cousin Sydney, I'm sure you would agree with me that he was one of a kind. A word that springs to mind when I think of Sydney is the word dependable. You could always rely on Sydney. Um, Growing up, I distinctly recall him being Uncle Ian's right-hand man. When there was something that needed to be done, Uncle Ian would just say one word, and that usually was Sydney, and no questions asked. He'd reply with a simple, "Yes, Daddy." That was Sydney. We all doted on him, and I particularly remember my grandmother doing so. He was always around to help her when she needed somebody to drive her around. There was Sydney. Sydney was the first grandchild, and therefore being my very first friend in life. And as young kids, we would play together endlessly, and as teenagers, we would do what teenagers usually do, and that is get up to mischief. And I particularly remember him getting his parents' car at night on occasion, quite frequently, and coming to pick me up, only for us to return in the wee hours of the morning after we've had a night out. We were inseparable, even sharing the same friends, him being friends with my friends, and vice versa. And there were many times that I recall that I would get a surprise visit from Sydney when he would just appear on my father's doorstep as I was growing up in Kuils River. And when I asked him, "How did you get here?" he'd usually say, "No, I took a train or a bus just because I missed you." That was Sydney. I would, however, end up having to drive him home, only to have us sit in the car for hours talking, just talking as we usually did. Before Sydney fell ill last year, I called him and asked him to come over to assist me in Dubai, and we spoke about it at length, and both of us being very excited to be reunited again, um, work towards this plan taking fruition. But that was obviously our plan and not God's plan. And I recall when Sydney fell ill, I called him one day, and he happened to be receiving his first chemo. So I said to him, "Let me call you later. But Sydney insisted, "No, cousin, don't put the phone down. I want to talk." And we ended up having a long conversation, as we always did. And I joked with him and I said to him, "You must be the first cancer patient that actually takes calls during chemo." But that was Sydney, always available, always there when you needed him, and such an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to my family members as well. Um, I can only say, Sydney, you will be greatly missed. You leave a void that nobody can fill. I ask God to hold you in the palm of His hand because you are very, very special. And I look forward to the day that we can be together again. I love you now as I loved you then, always. To Auntie Moni, Uncle Ian, Crystal, Doran, Ashley, Riley, my deepest, deepest sympathy. But know that Sydney's in a greater place, and one day we will meet on that beautiful morning.